This podcast was brought to you by eBizRadio, the place to go if you want to know about the world of business. For daily podcast and article uploads, go to eBizRadio.com or give us a follow on Twitter at eBizRadio Global. My name is Nick Snow, and joining me for an edition of BizWires is Liné van der Merwe from Life is Awesome. Liné, thank you very much for taking the time to chat to me. I'm very keen to find out about Life is Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself, about Life is Awesome, and how you got to starting it.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Life is Awesome is a design studio based in Woodstock, Cape Town, and we are quite unique in the fact that we do design, printing, and then actual installation. So we really are, 360 solution to our clients. We do quite a vast range of stuff, and our whole business motto and philosophy is to make good awesome. So, yeah.
So good, obviously, you don't think good is good enough. You want to take things to the next level. And so has design always been relevant, or is it more so as we move through, we exited the industrial age. Now we're in the information age, and we're getting bombarded every single day by so many things. I imagine your kind of motive is to stand out.
Oh, definitely. I think that design is more important than ever. And I believe that in the end, the great design always has an effect on your bottom line or your return on investment. There needs to be ROI for you as the client. And I do believe that design now in the information age is even more important because there's so many messages and things being shouted at us and so cluttered, where I do believe that design is problem solving, and it's really looking at the world quite differently. And I think the sad thing is that companies, the first things they cut in a recession is their marketing budget, which I think is completely wrong, because with all this mixed messages and stuff, we all know a confused mind doesn't buy anything.
Yes, absolutely. So you're hoping to get people to incorporate design and marketing more so into their business plans, because if they need to be cutting out anything, it's definitely not that. Because I suppose they should be competitive for consumers, and as we know, it is much easier for someone to respond to something that looks good and functions well.
Yes, definitely. I do believe that, I love the word for designer, graphic designer in Afrikaans, because it says, if you translate it directly, it's a business artist. And I do believe that is what we are. So it's not just about creating pretty pictures or just doing design for the sake of design. It's we're business artists, and it needs to affect your business, and it needs to amplify your business to your market. Otherwise, it's just decorative, which I think is why companies cut it so quickly. Yeah.
And I like the way you talk about it, with that it's like art. It really is. It's a way of expressing yourself in a way other than what you're actually trying to offer via your product. I suppose it forms quite a large part of your culture as a company. And I suppose the next logical question is where does design exactly have an impact? Because I imagine there's a multitude of angles.
Oh, yeah. Where do I start? Do you want me to give you an example?
Yes, I think, give us an example.
Okay, a quick example that everybody always understands quickly is, if you look at the homepage of Yahoo, it's like so cluttered and there's so much stuff there. But if you look at the homepage of Google, it's the most used online browser, and yet it's so simple. It's just a white box asking you, what do you want? What do you want to search? And that to me is design addressing human needs and addressing a human's need in that moment. And that's why I think Google is used so much more than Yahoo. And Google as a company invests so much in design thinking. For their design team, they have 20% of their day needs to be dedicated just to design thinking, which I think is amazing.
Right. So you're saying that by focusing on design, what you're unconsciously doing is attracting people towards your brand.
Definitely.
Why do so many businesses struggle with this thought pattern?
Because I don't think they understand the purpose of design. I do think our industry is filled, sadly, with a lot of fluff and a lot of egos and a lot of stuff, which I think is just creating a lot of noise. But I believe a proper designer, we need to, like I said, design addresses everything, problems, human needs. We need to address that. Otherwise, they're not relevant to designers.
Right, absolutely. So now, if I was a business and I had to come to you and I'd say, listen, I'm worried I'm not engaging with my consumers. I think my website looks fine, but, for some reason people...
And then we can pitch the solution. So I always do, first I do a brand audit and I check where are the gaps? Where are people leaving the site, or where are people not committing to an actual action, and why not? And then, once we know that, we can address it. Sometimes it's different. I just left a company that does solar power, and they are swamped with calls at the moment due to load shedding in South Africa. And their biggest issue is discerning between consumers that just want to know more about load shedding and solar panels, or the actual consumer that's actually going to commit to buying them. So our design challenge is how to actually make their market more niche.
Right.
So
I see.
That's, yeah.
So it goes further than just what you're trying to offer. It says, well, how are we approaching our clients? Do we look good? And if, I think design as an important aspect is something that obviously you're saying is overlooked. So, when it comes to the overall presentation of a business, if you had some key points you had to throw out at people and say, well, this is what we think you should focus on. What are they exactly to make yourself look better?
That's such a big question.
Where would you start then? If I came to you with my businesses and said, okay, Liné, I'm struggling, I've got a fantastic product, I've got my website, but for some reason people aren't engaging with me, I don't know what to do, and I show you this website and it just looks bland, maybe it's designed very badly, maybe it's using a very old form of programming or something.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely think that, you need to then rather make your website smaller but way more effective. A 3-pager that's designed well, that can actually, entice your market, is way more effective than having a big website. So even if you don't have a budget, and you're telling me you don't have a budget, then I say, okay, let's see what we can do, and let's, first of all, are you positioned properly? And I often see this with companies in South Africa. They're not positioned properly. I can talk about that forever. But, sorry, my friend. Jammed with so much possible solutions. And then I think that they need to see. Sometimes they need to investigate. I think there's a big part of this is curiosity. It's going out, asking your account executives or your sales reps, what are the biggest issues of my clients? Do they understand our marketing brochure? Is our product so complicated that they just don't get it? Are we maybe pitching ourselves as cost-effective, but actually we're looking for more premium clients? There's a lot of stuff you need to look at. It really is a big question.
Yes,
and I think
imagine.
there's a lot you can do. Yeah.
So now, obviously, with the scope being so broad, what do people usually approach you to do specifically?
Well, I think that's what makes us so unique, is that we either create the brand for you, so we create the logo, we create your image, then we do your online positioning, like how you look online, what is your interactions online, which includes your social media, and then after that we would take it down to the print. What does your marketing collateral look like? How does your sales rep look? What is he wearing? Why is he wearing this? What does his car look like that he's driving? There's 5 marketing buckets that you need to fill, and you can't really skip a bucket.
Right.
That's like basically the rules. So the first thing is like filling all your buckets and getting them all filled. So that's kind of what we look at, and then after that we often also do office spaces. So we've got all the printers, so we do large format printing and doing boardrooms, doing the whole experience when the customer actually walks into your office.
So you going further than just maybe revolutionizing the way the company looks on an online or in advertising, you actually go physically into the building and make sure that the actual aesthetics of walking into a company have changed as well.
Definitely, because I believe that your workspace affects your headspace. And I believe that there's so much more. If you look at the new collaborative way that people are working and how we're working in smaller teams, if you have a small quick meeting area in your office, it really saves the company a lot of time, because people don't have to book the boardroom, they don't have to go to the boardroom. They can just have a quick team meeting and sort it out and move on. And office design needs to incorporate that. And then the other thing is, it really depends on the business, but if you've got clients coming to your office, it's super important that your office looks amazing, because it just elevates you as a company in your customer's mind.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I've gone into a couple of businesses. Often, businesses often rent space in buildings because, they build these massive towers, and then they say, well, we're going to rent out each floor or each part of the floor, and then people just slap a logo on the door and put a couple of desks in it. Obviously, budgeting for this kind of thing is very hard. Rental agreements can be very high. But, when it comes to the designing of your actual office space, whether you're renting or buying, clearly it's very important that the consumer or the client, when they walk in, they feel good. But now, for the actual employees, are you also saying that changes the way they feel as well?
Definitely. I believe as a CEO of a company or director, you've got 4 main tasks every day that you need to fulfill, and one of them is creating a sense of belonging for your staff. And I think design does that. Giving your staff a coffee mug with their name on, or a mouse pad with their name on, or a dedicated desk, or that all gives a sense of belonging, which is very important to a company.
So you're talking about developing culture within your company, not only for your clients.
Yeah, and I mean, if people are budget averse, there's a lot of stuff you can do, and they don't actually realize this, that if your budget is smaller, you just go with higher impact. So there's a lot of stuff you can do, actually, to make a space look amazing. Or you could do a lot of modular stuff that if you move office, you pick it up and take it with you.
Yes, I can imagine that obviously works for the budget constraint. And I also think this is something that's investment over time. It's not like you just walk in there and do it all in one go. Sometimes things are implemented over a space of time. And so if the proper investment is made monthly, over the course of 6 months to a year, you could revolutionize your entire business.
Definitely. It creates a massive sense of pride in staff. I've seen it, and a massive sense of commitment.
So now, finally, Liné, if folks want to get in touch with you, they feel as though their businesses need a bit of a shakedown for 2015. How do they find you? What's your telephone numbers, websites, Twitters, etc.?
It's very easy to remember us. It's lifeisawesome.co.za. So you guys can just pop onto our site and see everything we do. And then and once you've checked out what we do there, you can reach us on 021 447 6476.
Absolutely wonderful. So, eBiz listeners, you know what to do. If you want to revolutionize your business space, you know who to call. Liné, thank you very much for taking the time to chat to me for this edition of eBiz Wires and for joining me here on eBiz Radio.
Cool. Thank you, Nick.